The small transport ship flew fast through the clouds, dodging laser fire from the patrol ships behind them. Leora's hands moved quickly over the controls. Her face was calm, but her eyes showed focus and tension. Cole sat beside her, holding tightly to his seat as the ship turned sharply through a narrow gap between two towers. "They're gaining on us," Cole shouted. "I see them," Leora replied. "But we're almost clear of the city's airspace." Outside the windows, Earth looked smaller and smaller. The silver towers glowed in the early light, floating above the clouds like a dream. But the dream was over. The council had called Cole a threat, and now they were hunting both him and Leora like criminals. Leora activated the defense shields. A blue shimmer covered the ship's hull just in time to block another laser blast. The ship shook, but it held together. "We need more speed," she said, flipping switches. Come on, come on." The engines roared louder. The ship shot forward, leaving a trail of light behind. The patrol ships fell back a little. Cole looked at her. "You're amazing at this." She gave a small smile, but didn't take her eyes off the sky. "I learned from my father." He said flying was like dancing with the stars, fast, quiet, and never afraid. Soon, the city faded behind them, and the stars appeared above. "Leora, check the scanner. We're close to neutral space," she said. "But the patrols won't give up so easily. We have to pass through a defense grid." Cole frowned. "What kind of grid?" "Energy gates," she explained. "Invisible. Walls that block any ship without approval. If we touch one, the ship will shut down. Do we have approval?" "No," Cole blinked. "Then, what's the plan?" Leora gave him a serious look. "A gamble." She showed him a map on the screen. 3 gates covered the space ahead. Between them was a narrow path barely wide enough for their ship. "If we go through here," she said, pointing, "we might make it. But the margin is small. A single mistake and we'll crash." Cole looked at the path. "Do you trust yourself to fly through it?" She looked at him, then nodded. "Yes," he nodded back. "Then I trust you too." They set the course. Leora gripped the controls tightly. The engines roared again. The ship raced toward the gates. From behind, 2 patrol ships followed, firing again. The shields weakened with every hit. Cole checked the rear view. "They're too close." Leora's eyes focused. "Hold on." She spun the ship into a dive, twisting it through the opening between 2 glowing gate fields. Sparks flew from the sides as the energy hummed loudly. Cole felt the heat press against the windows, almost there. Leora whispered. The ship slipped through the last gate just as a laser beam missed their tail by inches. A sudden quiet filled the cabin. Leora checked the system. "We're out." Cole let out a long breath. "We made it." The patrol ship stopped at the gates. Edge. They couldn't follow. Beyond the gates was neutral space, a law-free zone not controlled by any planet. Cole looked out the window. Stars filled the dark sky. A distant planet glowed softly in the background. It was quiet, peaceful, but their journey wasn't over. Leora turned to Cole. "We can't rest yet. We need to send the truth out. The mission records, the evidence. If we share it with the galaxy, the Council will be forced to answer." Cole asked, "Where can we do that?" "There's a relay station on a moon nearby," she said. "Old, but still active. If we upload the data there, the signal will reach several systems." Cole nodded. "Then let's go." They reached the moon an hour later. It was small and gray, with deep craters and rocky hills. A landing pad sat near the edge, covered in dust. An old building stood beside it, rusted, quiet, forgotten. They landed gently. Cole followed Leora into the building. Inside, machines blinked slowly. Dust floated in the air. LIOR found the main terminal and placed the data cube on the port. "It'll take a few minutes," she said. "Then the message will spread through the old relay channels." Cole stood beside her. "And then what?" She looked at him. "Then the people will decide. If they hear the truth and still fear you, we'll keep running. But if they remember what we once were, what we could be, maybe things will change." Cole smiled a little. "You believe that?" She nodded. "I have to." Suddenly, the terminal screen flashed red. Someone is trying to jam the signal, Leora said. Cole stepped back. They found us already? A warning siren buzzed in the building. Outside, the sound of engines grew louder. A black Varellan ship landed near them. Its design was different, sleeker, stronger, and built for war. They sent a hunter, Leora said, not patrol. This one won't care about rules. The door opened and a tall armored figure stepped out. He held a long staff glowing with blue energy. Cole asked, "Who is that?" Leora's voice was quiet. "Commander Tharek. He works directly for the council. If he's here, they're truly afraid of what we have." Tharek walked toward the building slowly. He called out, "Leora of House Mirren, you have betrayed your kind. Step outside. Give up the human." Leora shouted back, "No, you fear the truth. My father knew what really happened, and I found proof. It's already uploading. You can't stop it." Tharek didn't answer. He raised his staff and blasted the side of the building. Debris flew everywhere. Cole pulled Leora down behind the machine. "He's serious." Cole said, "We have to hold him off until the upload finishes," Leora said. "Protect the terminal." Cole looked around. He grabbed a metal pipe from the floor. It wasn't much, but it was something. Tharek entered the building, scanning with sharp eyes. His armor glowed faintly. He moved like a hunter, slow and sure. Leora tossed a flash grenade from her belt. It exploded with light. Tharek paused, blinded for a moment. Cole rushed forward and swung the pipe. It hit Tharek's arm, making him stumble. "Run!" Leora shouted. They ran back to the terminal. The upload reached 87%. Tharek recovered and came fast. He swung his staff and hit the floor beside Cole. The shockwave knocked Cole back. Leora stood in front of the terminal. "If you destroy this, you destroy everything we were." Tharek raised his staff, but before he could strike, the terminal beeped. "Upload complete." A green light flashed. Lior smiled. Tharek stopped. He stared at the screen, then slowly lowered his weapon. "You've made a mistake," he said coldly. "No," Leora replied. "I've made a choice." The sky above was purple and wide, filled with floating towers made of silver and crystal. They called this place Zurith, the capital city of the Varellan Empire. It hovered high in the sky, far above the forests and rivers below. Only the Varellans lived here, an alien race known for their tall figures, glowing eyes, and strict laws. In one of the towers, a human named Cole was locked inside a transparent prison cell. He sat on the cold metal floor, hands chained, eyes tired. His spaceship had crashed a few days ago after being pulled in by a strange energy wave. He didn't even know where he was until soldiers in silver armor dragged him out of the wreckage. Now, he was a prisoner outside his cell, curious. Varellans walked by. Some stared at him with fear, others with anger. They whispered words he didn't understand, but one message was clear. He didn't belong here. The loudspeakers played the same announcement. Every few hours, the human intruder is to be judged by the High Council. Alien trespassers are a threat to our world. Cole sighed and leaned his head back against the wall. He had no weapons, no translator, no way to contact Earth. Everything was gone. All he had was his will to survive. Then, one night, something strange happened. A soft humming sound filled the air. A section of the cell wall slid open and a figure stepped in. She was Varellan but different from the guards. She wore a long robe instead of armor. Her hair was tied back and her expression wasn't cold or angry. It was curious. Her name was Lior. Cole stood up slowly, unsure if this was another test or trap. She raised her hand gently and spoke in his language, though with a slight accent. "I am not here to hurt you, human. I came to ask a question." Cole blinked. "You speak English?" "I studied your language," she replied calmly. "You are the first human I've ever seen. Alive," he frowned. "Alive? What does that mean?" Leora didn't answer right. Away, she stepped closer but kept her distance. "My people think you are dangerous. The council believes you are a spy. They plan to execute you in 3 days. Cole's heart dropped. 3 days? For what? Crashing here by accident? They say Earth sent you. That humans want to steal our technology, she said. I don't believe them. But I need to understand why you are really here. He looked into her eyes. She didn't seem like a liar. Her face held something he hadn't seen in any other alien hereabout. Maybe even kindness. My ship broke down, Cole said. I didn't come to spy or steal. I'm not a soldier or a scientist. I was just flying a cargo route until some weird wave hit me and knocked everything out. Leora listened carefully. She didn't interrupt. When he finished, she asked, What wave? I don't know. A pulse from this planet, maybe it felt like energy. Blue, bright, it pulled me in. Leora's eyes narrowed slightly. There are no active pulses on this planet. At least, none that should be reaching space. She turned as if thinking about something deep in her mind. And she whispered to herself, So it really happened? Cole stepped closer to the edge of his cell. What's going on? Why? Are you helping me? Leora looked back at him. Because a long time ago, there was a secret mission. A team of Virellans left this planet and visited Earth. That mission is not in our public records. But I found fragments, hints, something. Terrible happened, and your people helped us. Cole was shocked. You're saying Earth helped your people before? She nodded slowly. Yes, but the Council erased it. They don't want others to know. They fear it would weaken their control. Cole clenched his fists. So they'd rather kill me than admit the truth? Yes, she said sadly. But I don't agree with them. For the first time in days, Cole felt something real hope. A spark. You don't have much time, Leora continued. They are moving you to the execution floor tomorrow morning. Once you're there, I won't be able to reach you again. He stepped forward. Then help me escape. She hesitated. Her hands shook slightly. If I help you, they will call me a traitor, she said. I will lose everything. He looked at her. Then why did you come here at all? Leora was silent for a long moment. Then she said quietly, Because when I was a child, I heard stories from my father. He said that once a human saved his life. He never told me more. But I remembered his words. He said, One day a human will come again. Don't be afraid. I think maybe that person is you? Cole felt his throat tighten. I'm no hero. You don't have to be, she replied. Just live. Suddenly, the alarm outside the cell buzzed. Leora stepped back quickly. I must go, she said. Tomorrow night. If I return, be ready. And just like that, she disappeared through the wall, and the cell sealed behind her. Cole stood in silence, staring at the place where she had stood. His heart beat faster now, not from fear, but from something else. A chance. The morning sun of Zurith rose gently over the shining towers. Soft light touched every edge of the floating city, but there was no warmth in the chamber where Cole stood. His arms were locked behind his back by magnetic cuffs and too armored. Virellan guards pushed him forward without saying a word. The Hall of Judgment was large and cold. It was shaped like a circle, with tall pillars rising up to the ceiling where glowing lights hovered. In the center stood the accused today. That was Cole. Around him sat 7 members of the High Council. Their eyes were calm, but their expressions were hard like stone. Hundreds of Virellans filled the seats above, watching quietly. Some held their children close. Others whispered behind their hands. They all stared at the human, the outsider, the one they called a threat. Cole stood straight. Even though his body was tired, his hands hurt from the cuffs and his throat was dry. He had slept little the night before. He kept thinking about what Leora had said and whether she would really return. A tall figure in blue robes stepped forward. He was the head elder, known as Varnal Human, Varnal said in a deep voice. You are accused of trespassing into our protected skies, of carrying dangerous unknown technology, and of refusing to identify your true mission. Do you deny these charges? Cole raised his head. Yes, I do. I crashed by accident. I'm just a transport pilot. I didn't come here to spy or hurt anyone. A few murmurs spread through the crowd. One of the other council members leaned forward. Yet your ship had advanced sensors not registered in our database. You carried no clear signal of peace. How do you explain this? Cole replied. Those are standard tools on cargo ships back on Earth. I lost control after being pulled in by some strange energy. I didn't even know this planet existed until I woke up in your prison. Varnal nodded once but didn't smile. We will decide your fate soon. Suddenly a voice rose from the crowd below. I request permission to speak. Everyone turned toward the voice. It was Lio, Art. She stepped forward, calm and steady, dressed in the dark green uniform of a diplomatic officer. The council whispered among themselves. Varnal looked at her and asked, Leora of House Miran, why do you speak on this matter? She bowed slightly. Because I believe the council is making a mistake. Gasps rose from the seats. Some Varellans even stood in surprise. Varnal narrowed his eyes. Explain yourself. Leora stepped into the circle beside Cole. This human is not a spy. He is not here to harm us. I studied his ship's logs. His crash was caused by an energy pulse one that does not match any current defense system on our planet. And there's more. The room went silent, Leora continued. 50 years ago, there was a secret mission led by Varellan explorers. They visited Earth after a disaster destroyed one of our outer colonies. Human aid saved their lives. My father was part of that mission. He left behind a message, one that warned this history was erased by order of the old council. Varnal's face remained blank. There is no proof of such a mission. I found fragments, Leora replied. I can bring them forward. Another elder spoke, this one with gray markings on her skin. Even if this is true, what does it change? This human still entered our skies without permission. Leora didn't back down. It changes everything. If we punish an innocent man, we repeat the lies of the past. The human may be our only chance to restore truth between our worlds. The council went quiet. Cole turned and looked at Leora. With confusion, he hadn't expected her to risk so much. She was shaking slightly, but her voice had stayed strong. Varnal leaned back in his chair. Your words are bold, but boldness is not always wisdom. You are dismissed, Leora. The council will now vote. Leora gave Cole one last glance, then stepped away. She didn't speak, but her eyes said everything. Hold on. Don't give up. The council closed their circle. They spoke in a low voice, no one else could hear. Cole stood still, waiting. Minutes felt like hours. Finally, Varnal stood. The council has decided. Everyone in the hall leaned forward. The human is to be executed tomorrow at dawn. This is for the safety of our people. This meeting is over. The room erupted in noise, some cheering, others in disbelief. Cole felt like the floor had vanished beneath him. Guards grabbed him and began dragging him away. Leora tried to step forward, but other officers blocked her path. You have spoken enough, one said. Return to your station. No, she whispered. This isn't over. Back in his cold cell, Cole stared at the ceiling. The lights above flickered slightly. Time passed slowly. He didn't eat. He didn't sleep. His mind was racing. He thought about Earth, about how he had once believed aliens might be curious, even friendly. But here he was on death row for doing nothing wrong. Then, late in the night, he heard the soft humming sound again. The wall opened. Leora stepped inside. You came back? Cole said quietly. I said I would, she replied. They voted to execute me. I know, she said. That's why we must leave tonight. Cole blinked. You mean escape? Leora nodded. I have access to lower tunnels. They were once used for moving cargo, now forgotten. I also have a stolen pass card and signal jammer. If we're lucky, we can make it to a hidden hangar. Why are you doing this? He asked. You've already risked enough. She looked at him and said, Because truth matters. And because I believe you are the human my father spoke about. Cole stood slowly. Even if I'm not? Then I will still know I did the right thing. Together they stepped into the tunnel dot above them. The city of Zurith continued to shine. The people slept, unaware that something important had just begun, something that could change the future of two worlds. The tunnel was dark and narrow, hidden far below the glowing towers of Zurith. Cole followed closely behind Leora as they moved quickly through the old passageway. The walls were made of dull metal and covered in dust. Lights flickered weakly. From the ceiling, some broken, others barely working, Cole's heart beat fast. Not from fear, but from everything happening at once. Hours ago, he had stood before a council that wanted him dead. Now, he was escaping with the help of a Varellan woman who believed in a secret long buried by her people. "Where are we going?" he whispered. Lior replied without looking back. "There's an old transport hangar beneath the eastern sector. It hasn't been used in years. If we reach it, I have someone waiting for us." "Someone I trust." Cole looked around. "What is this place? Doesn't seem like it belongs in such a high-tech city." "This tunnel was built during the early days of Zurich," she explained, "before the Sky Citadel was fully complete. Supplies were brought through these paths. Most people think they were sealed off. They kept walking, deeper into the tunnel. The sound of their footsteps echoed in the silence. Suddenly, a sound behind them, a faint metallic clink. Leora stopped. She raised her hand and listened carefully. Cole whispered, "Someone's following us?" "I don't know." "Keep moving. Stay close." They turned a corner, entered another tunnel, and came to a sealed door. Leora tapped a code into a small panel on the side. The door opened with a hiss. Inside was a wide space like an old storage room. Crates were stacked in the corners, and a large pipe ran across the ceiling. Cole stepped in and looked around. "This place hasn't been touched in a long time." He said, "That's why it's safe," Leora answered. "We'll rest here for a moment." Cole sat on one of the crates, breathing deeply. His legs were tired. His arms still ached from the metal cuffs earlier. Leora looked through her satchel and pulled out a small glowing cube. "What's that?" Cole asked. She placed it on the floor. A soft light came from it, and a small hologram appeared, a spinning globe with symbols around it. "These are the fragments I found," she said. "Old mission records. My father hid them in a private archive." Cole leaned forward, watching closely. "This symbol here," Leora pointed, "belongs to an Earth vessel. The name was Unity Dawn. According to the files, it answered a distress signal from a Varellan scout ship 50 years ago." "So the humans helped?" Cole asked. "Yes, the logs say your people gave medicine, food, and shelter." The Varellan crew had been injured during a mission gone wrong. But when they returned home, the council told them to stay silent. They said the galaxy didn't need to know that our people were once saved by yours. Cole shook his head slowly. "Why would they hide something like that?" "Pride," Leora said sadly, "and fear. They wanted to believe we were stronger alone, but I think they were wrong. I think the truth was important, and I believe my father tried to protect it." Cole stared at the hologram. "Is your father still alive?" "No," she said quietly. "He died when I was young. But he told me once, never fear the truth, even if others do. That's why I started searching." Cole nodded. "He sounds like a good man." Leora smiled a little. "He was." Suddenly, a soft beep came from her wrist device. Her face changed. "They found the tunnel. We have to move." Cole stood quickly. "What do we do now?" "There's another path from this room. It leads to the maintenance decks. From there, we can reach the hangar." They rushed toward a hidden hatch in the corner. Leora opened it, and they crawled through a small shaft. Cole felt the cold metal press against his hands and knees. It was tight and rough, but they kept going. After several minutes, they dropped into a long corridor lit with dull yellow lights. Pipes and wires ran along the walls. The place smelled like oil and dust. "This way," Leora said, turning left. They passed machines that looked like old repair bots and empty crates. No one was around. Finally, they reached a door marked with a faded symbol, 2 wings inside a circle. "The hangar," she whispered. She placed her hand on a scanner. The door unlocked and slid open. Inside was a large open space. Rusted ships stood quietly, covered in sheets. Lights hung from the ceiling. At the far end was a small transport vessel, round, gray, with blue stripes. A figure stood beside it. "Jarin!" Leora called out. The figure turned. He was a young Varellan male with short dark hair and a serious face. "You're late," Jarin said. The patrols are searching this sector. I know, Leora replied. We came as fast as we could. Jaren looked at Cole and frowned. So that's the human? Yes, she said. And he's not what they say. Jaren paused, then nodded. Fine, I've cleared the launch path, but we'll only get one shot. Suddenly, an alarm sounded from the hallway they came through. They're here, Jaren said. Go. Get. On the ship, Leora and Cole ran toward the transport. Cole jumped into the passenger seat while Leora went to the controls. Jaren sealed the doors and shouted, I'll hold them off. You'll be caught. Leora shouted back, I'll buy you time. He yelled, then ran toward the hallway. The engine started humming. The floor trembled as the ship lifted from the ground. Hold on, Leora said. Blinding lights filled the hangar as the main door opened. The sky above was dark but clear. Then the ship shot upward out of the hangar past the towers of Zurith. And into the clouds. Cole looked back through the window, heart pounding. He saw flashes of light behind them, laser beams from patrol ships, but Leora flew fast and low, weaving between clouds and towers. We're not safe yet, she said, but we're close. Cole asked, Where are we going? Neutral. Space, she answered. If we can reach the border, they can't follow. And after that? She looked at him and said, We tell the truth to the galaxy. As the ship raced into the stars, Cole leaned back in his seat. He didn't know what would happen next, but he knew one thing for sure: he wasn't alone anymore. Silence filled the dusty building as the last green light blinked on the terminal. The message had been sent. Every connected relay station, satellite, and outpost in nearby systems now had the truth. The secret mission, the human aid. The erased. Past and Leora's voice. Commander Tharek stood still, his glowing staff lowered. His armor still sparkled from the earlier blast, but his face calm and cold showed something else now. Doubt.L.I.O. stood tall between him and the terminal. Her hands didn't shake and her eyes didn't blink. The galaxy knows now, she said. Even if you strike us down, you can't take that back? Cole limped forward, holding his side. She's right, what's done is done. Thorax. Eyes moved from Leora to Cole and back again. Then he stepped away from them both and looked out the cracked doorway at the stars above. You think truth changes everything, Tharek said, but truth also brings chaos, fear, division. Only. When it's buried, Leora replied. Now it can heal instead. Tharek gave her one last long look, then turned. Without another word, he walked to his ship. The engines hummed, and the dark craft lifted into the sky. Within seconds, he was gone. Cole finally let out a breath. I thought he'd kill us. So. Did I? Leora said, but something stopped him. Maybe the truth reached him too. They stayed quiet for a moment, the only sound being the soft hum of the terminal. Cole sat down on a low ledge. Do you think it worked? Will people believe us? Leora nodded slowly. The message wasn't just data. I included images, records, voices from the old crew. My father's voice, too. And I spoke to them. You did? Yes, she said. I told them about you, about what happened, and why I chose to help. Cole looked at her with respect. You've risked everything. I know, she said softly. But it was the right thing. They spent the night on the moon, hidden inside the old relay station. It was quiet, peaceful, for the first time since they met. There was no chasing, no alarms, no threats. Leora used the time to repair the transport ship. Cole helped her clean parts, hold wires, and check panels. She was impressed by how quickly he learned. You're good at this, she said. Cole smiled. I used to fix engines back on Earth. Never thought I'd be fixing alien ships, though. They both laughed. The moment felt light, like a breath of air after a long storm. When morning came, their ship was ready. The stars still shone above, and the moon's surface was calm. Leora sat in the pilot seat, while Cole looked out the window. Where to now? Leora pulled up a map. I've received a signal from a neutral news network. They want to interview you, sir, our story. Some are already asking questions about the Council's actions. That was fast, Cole said. Truth moves quickly once it's free. As they flew into space, Leora sent one last signal to her homeworld. It wasn't a message of anger or blame. It was a message of hope. She said, "To the people of Zerth, and to those who still seek peace, I was once silent. But now I speak for those who can't. The past matters. The truth matters. Let us build something better, together." Cole watched her as she spoke. Her voice was calm but strong. He felt proud to know her later when they were resting mid-flight. He sat beside her and asked quietly, "Why did you really save me?" Leora looked at him, thoughtful. "At first, I wasn't sure. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was my father's words. But now, I think I saved you because I saw something in you that we've forgotten: honor, kindness, and courage without reward." Cole chuckled. "I was scared most of the time." "That's what made it real," she said. "You didn't act brave because you were unafraid. You acted because someone needed help." He was quiet for a while. Then he said, "And you risked your life for a stranger." She smiled. "Maybe we both did something impossible." The days passed as they traveled through peaceful space. News began to spread. Civilian groups from other Virellan colonies spoke up. Some leaders requested an official investigation into the old mission files. A few even called for a change in council leadership. Cole watched all of it unfold from the ship's small screen. "Looks like we started something big." "Yes," Leora replied. "But it's only the beginning." Eventually, they reached a friendly spaceport in neutral territory. There, they were greeted by peaceful officers and independent reporters. Cameras flashed, questions were asked. Leora answered each one with care. Cole stood beside her, unsure of what to say. He had never been in front of a camera before. But when a young reporter asked him, "What message do you have for the people who once feared you?" he took a deep breath and said, "I didn't come here to be a hero. I didn't come to fight anyone. I crashed, I survived. And I was helped by someone who didn't have to care. So now I believe this: no matter how different we look, we all want peace. And peace starts with understanding." His words were shared across networks and communication channels. People listened. One day, a message came from a new member of the Virellan Council. It said, "We accept the evidence. The Council of the past failed to honor the truth. We offer public apology to Earth and to the human known as Cole. May this be the beginning of something better." Cole stared at the message. In silence, Leora walked up beside him. "It's happening." He nodded. "Because of you?" "No," she said. "Because of us." That evening, the two of them stood on the observation deck of the space station. Stars filled the sky. Distant planets spun slowly in the dark. Cole looked at Leora. "What now?" She thought for a moment. "We could go to Earth, meet your people," he smiled, and after that, she turned to him. "Wherever the stars take us." Together they stared into space, not as prisoner and rescuer, not as human and alien, but as friends who had done something powerful. They had chosen truth over fear. And now the galaxy was watching.